Well, thank you, Ian, for inviting me onto your podcast today to talk about Maine Road and what a ground that was. My name's Steve Bartley, by the way. I've been a City fan all my life. I live in Australia nowadays, Melbourne, and I'm a member of the official supporters club here. Um, but that first time that I went to Maine Road, it was 1966. It was a cold, bitterly cold. I remember January night, and the game was versus Blackpool. It was an FA Cup third round replay. I went with my younger brother Ray, and we had to tell our parents that we were being taken by um, one of our neighbours, who was also a City fan, and otherwise our parents wouldn't have let us go to Maine Road on our own. You had to get two buses, you see, then in those days from Droylsden, one from Droylsden to Bellevue, and then the bus from Bellevue onto Moss Side. And my brother and I knew that this was going to be a big game, attendance-wise anyway, because when we got off the bus at Bellevue, there were a lot of people, jumping on the buses going to Maine Road, and in fact, the buses were, totally full. So with great expectation, we got on the bus and off we went to Moss Side. We got off the bus, and then there was a short walk from the bus stop through the uh, car park at the back of Maine Road there, at the back of the Kippax Street, and there were just terraced houses, and that's the ground was actually just basically built in the middle of a an old housing estate with terraced houses all around it, something quite remarkable. And all the backyards of the houses, of course, faced the entrance to the Kippax Street. And so in we went, and of course, we didn't have enough money, actually, my brother and I, to pay for both of us to get into the ground. Um, so I paid the 2 shillings and sixpence, half a crown it was in those days to get in the ground. And my brother, younger brother, who was 9, he crawled in 5 feet. And so we got 2 in for the price of 1. We bought a program when we got inside it, and they had program sellers, of course, um, uh, outside in the ground, and sixpence we paid for a program. So for 3 shillings, my brother and I, were in Maine Road for the first time, and looking forward to see City play um, for the first time. Well, the first time at Maine Road, and the game was actually a third round FA Cup replay. We're playing Blackpool, the Tangerines as they were known, or as we referred to them in those days as the Donkey Lashes. And they were a first division team, and in those days, City, we hadn't been promoted yet. We were still a second division club. We were playing on the Monday evening, and the original cup tie had been played actually, just not much more than 48 hours before, on the Saturday. Um, so some of the players who complain nowadays about the games being too close, well, in the 60s, in the mid 60s, they were pretty close, especially for the FA Cup. You played on the Saturday, and if you didn't get a result, you had to play on the Monday night. so yeah, it was pretty tough for the players. Me and my brother, we'd gone into the Kippax because we knew that's where all the Manchester City fans would be, and that's where we wanted to be, of course, with the City fans. And we looked up at the steps, the concrete steps that led up to the top of the stadium, and when 11 and 9-year-old kids, those steps seem so steep, and there was a lot of them too, and up we went. But when we got to the top of the steps and we looked onto the ground, it was something very special, because Maine Road, it wasn't much of a football ground in itself, but the pitch was magnificent. This game, of course, has been played under floodlights. It was a 7:30 p.m. kickoff, and the floodlights were on, shining onto that pitch, and the pitch seemed very, very green and very bright. And Maine Road had a certain smell about it, which I can't explain, like just the smell of the turf and everything like that. and it was an amazing, amazing thing. I've actually got a picture here of what Maine Road used to be out like, and that's looking outside. Obviously, the fans waiting to go in on a wet night, just as it was for us way back in January 1966. And well, we were certainly looking forward to this game, and the team was then Harry Dowd, Bobby Kennedy, Cliff Sear, Mike Doyle, George Heslop, Alan Oakes, Mike Summerby, Johnny Crossan, Glenn Pardo, Dave Connor, Neil Young. We hadn't signed Franny Lee yet. Of course, Joel Mercer and Malcolm Allison were running the team, and we didn't know, right then what was to come. But what a game this was, and my brother and I, we actually forced our way. Took quite a long time to the front of the Kippax Street, and we watched right from the front. At later games, because we went virtually every game after that, we would watch from the tunnel in the Kippax Street, the tunnel nearest the Platte Lane end. But here we were on this cold Monday night. We'd managed to somehow afford a cup of Bovril to share, and a wagon wheel. Strange combination, but that's what you're used to have in those days. And we were getting jostled around, and that's why we'd moved to the front. And the game kicked off, and Maine Road, well, under floodlights, there was nothing like it. And I'll never forget the roar of the crowd when Mike Summerby crossed the halfway line attacking, and the crowd the noise was amazing, and it was a great ground, Maine Road, for the noise. Just amazing. My brother and I, we've never forgotten that first night in Maine Road. City actually won the game. They won 3-1, and we qualified, obviously, for the next round. It didn't last much longer than that, but that didn't matter. We'd won the first game, and the love of Maine Road and the love of football, that's where it was born for us. Because when you went to those old grounds, they weren't very luxurious. They didn't have good toilets. There wasn't much hospitality, but what you got was atmosphere, and what you got was some great football as well. And so that's how I, even today, would prefer to watch football. Standing up, having a cup of Bovril and a wagon wheel, not much luxury, but being in with the crowd, listening to the noise, the fantastic roar. And what a roar it was, as I've said, at Maine Road. That was a ground, of course, in those days that held 85,000. It only held 35,000 by the time it closed in 2003, after all the modifications, and some of them not so good. But the memories of Maine Road, January 1966, they'll always be with me. And thank you, Ian, for letting us talk about them.